Welcome to AERZEN Middle East. My name is Jochen Schmidt, and in today's video we will talk about daily and weekly checks that we do on our PD blowers and also on our compressors and hybrids. It is important to refer to the data sheet or to the operating manual to understand what the machine is all about. You need to understand what the data is or the specifications and parameters so we can really see if the machine is operating optimally or not. Getting to the daily checks, there are three items that we need to check. First, we'll look at the oil level. Secondly, we look at the gauges or the electronic that will give you a good indication on the parameters or the operating conditions. Try and look at a trend on a daily basis and see if there's any other variances there. That becomes an issue then. The other part is look at the sound or listen to the sound. The sound always gives you key indication if there is something wrong with the blower or the compressor for whatever reason. Daily basis, you walk past there, you listen to the sounds. If there's anything different, be aware of it. The weekly checks are about checking a little bit more. Now with the weekly checks, we need to go a little bit deeper. Hence, here we need to err on caution and safety and switch off the blower and isolate it to safeguard ourselves, obviously. Once we've done that, we can then open up the panels and do our checks or our inspections. The first thing that we check is the filter. Make sure that the filter has been placed and installed correctly, first of all. By removing it, or when removing it, make sure that excess dust doesn't fall into the canopy or into the suction side, that it might fall into the blower. Remove it, make sure or establish how dirty it is. Based on the soiling, you can then also determine how often you want to go and clean the filter or how often you must clean the filter. By determining that, we can either clean it carefully or we can replace it. If you choose to clean it, please ensure that you clean it from the outside to the inside, not the other way around. Because with our filters, we suck the dirt into the filter from the inside and it goes out to the outside. A lot of people do not understand that, so make sure of that. Once the filter is clean or you have a new one, replace it carefully and make sure that it is fitted correctly. If it's not fitted correctly or slotted correctly with the locating pins, you might have issues closing the lid, or you might also have an issue of bypassing of air. So please be aware of that. The next thing that we want to go and look at is the pulley drive. Now the pulley drive consists of the two pulleys and the belts and the lifting device of the motor. Remember, the belt tension is determined by the weight of the motor, so the tension should therefore be self-explanatory, but the only thing that can prevent it is the lifting device. Lifting device, a lot of people don't understand the lifting device, how it works. It is a lifting device, it's not a tensioner, and if you use it as a tensioner, your belt tension is not going to be correct. Refer to the operating manual how to operate the lifting device and ensure that your belt tension is correct. The next thing you want to look at is the alignment. Make sure that the alignment is correct. And then obviously the other thing is wear and tear. Make sure that the belts are not worn. Make sure that the pulleys are not worn, that the belts fit in nicely. Make sure that you use the correct belts and that everything is fine. The next thing that we want to look at is the oil level. The oil level generally in our circumstance should always be half of the sight glass while the machine is standing. Now typically the canopy behind me is a G5 situation or package where the sight glass is outside and it's a quick reference, and if the level is in the middle then it's fine, but if it hasn't been set up correctly originally then we've got issues. So always go and check the sight glasses on the machine itself too. It always, on both sides, on the non-drive side and on the drive side, it needs to be half in the sight glass. In terms of the oil, we also want to go and look at the color of the oil. We supply the machines with the Delta Lube, which is a blue color. Once the color changes, then we start having issues. Please look at replacing it at that point in time. In terms of the oil also, check for oil leaks. So the common oil leaks are at the shaft seal and also at the condensate ports, or as we also deem them as neutral ports. Now if there's a slight oil mist coming out of the condensate holes, it's not a problem. there's a slight mist or slight moisture on the shaft seal, it's also not a problem. As soon as we get drips and drops, then we have an issue, and then we either have to replace the shaft seal, or the internal seals are worn and need to be replaced. Next thing we want to go and check the safety valve, or as we also refer to it as a pressure relief valve. Now this unit is there to go and protect the blower and not the system, and we need to make sure that it is functional. How do we check it? We remove the sleeve. In a case like behind us, there's also a hose on top there, so we remove the sleeve, and then you'll see the spring and the bell. Now typically, to go and check it in a quick manner, we can lift the bell, or we can make sure that the bell is loose by turning it, and then we can deem it functional. What we need to look out for is wear and tear. So often these valves work overtime or work when they shouldn't be working, and they start wearing. Remember, these valves are designed not to work continuously, but only there to safeguard the machine. Check for wear. If it's worn, make sure that you replace it as soon as possible. Once that's all checked and replaced and new and functional, replace it correctly. Make sure that the hose is also fitted correctly, because in this instance, any hot air escaping from the safety valve will could have an influence in the ambient temperature of the blower side. After that, we're going to want to go and ensure that the non-return valve is functional. Now, there's two ways of checking this. Either you physically take the valve out and look at the flap if there's any wear and tear on it, or alternatively, in general terms or installations, there is a shut-off valve that we can open, and if there's any pressure in the system, then it makes it easier to go and check the non-return valve if there's any leakages or not. If that is all fine, then we can have a quick overview of the whole machine and make sure that it's clean inside. Try and keep it as clean as possible, because any dust ingress in there will only build up and cause further issues. Lastly, if there are any defects or anything that is unfamiliar that you find incorrect or whatever, please first of all refer to the manual. There's a lot of information in the manual. Make sure you refer to the data sheet. Make sure that the machine is running in the correct parameters. And if there's any other doubt, then please give us a call and we'll try and support you in any way we can.